This summer, it will be 3 years ago that a group of young contemplative leaders met at the Snowmass Abbey, the monastery of, among others, the late Thomas Keating. Sicco Claus, one of the contributors of our website, A Contemplative Path Through the Crisis, was one of the participants in that exchange. On the invitation of the founders of these Christian contemplative movements, they came together to reflect on what they saw as the future of contemplative life. One of the fruits of this exchange is the volume Contemplation and Community. Sarah Bachelard, Leonardo Correa, and Sicco Claus wrote a chapter for this book. Another participant in this meeting and one of the two editors of this book was Father Stuart Higginbotham. Sicco Claus was triggered by the Stuart's ambition to invite the whole of his parish to join him on the journey of silence, stillness, and simplicity. At the moment of the meeting in Snowmass, this journey was already 3 years long. Sicco decided to contact Stuart again after he read Stuart's text, A Pandemic Priesthood, in which this Episcopal priest reflects on how he understands his vocation in these strange times. He agreed in having a conversation about it for our website. Father Stuart introduces himself.
So I'm an Episcopal priest. I'm the head of staff at Grace Church in Gainesville, Georgia, which is about an hour north of Atlanta in the southeastern United States. So I've been at this particular parish for about 6.5 years now, and I was at my first parish for almost 6 years. So I'm glad that I've been here for as long as I have whenever this actually took place, because I think it's been very hard for some of my friends who are in their first or their second year and don't feel like they have their feet really under them. So my parish is one of the larger parishes in our diocese. We have about 1,000 members, and we have a preschool attached as well with about 100 families. So all in all, there's probably about 1,300 people counting preschool and parish. So it keeps me quite busy, day to day. I have a wonderful team, a wonderful vestry or governing board, and it's just an incredible group of people. Where we live is not exactly a suburb of the city. There's enough space that it has its own particular flavor, its own particular ethos, which is also really good too.
And one of the first things that struck me in your text was that you introduced reflection on the various tasks and duties of a priest with a reflection on your community, on the as I called it, the strange times we're living in, and then you were saying that there are things that gave you joy, that there are things that also touch you very much. Can you tell us a bit about that? What kind of things have touched you, and what kind of things have given you joy last weeks and months?
Oh, thank you for that question. There's been a lot of pain and a lot of grief, but there's also been enormous moments of joy and depth, that I'm so thankful for. One of the things that we've done at Grace over the past 6.5 years is really focus on our practice of prayer. Really look and see, what does it look like for an entire community to ground itself in a practice of prayer, and really resist the urge to focus on what I call a program maintenance model, which really reduces church life to just the management of a series of programs that are done well. And so we've really focused for the past 6 years on practices, on really introducing the parish to contemplative grounding, what it means to have a space that's oriented around silence and stillness, and solitude, what it means to really listen deeply from our hearts and to name out loud those tensions in ourselves and our own sense of ego grasping that really rises up. And so I think what happened is that the work that we did really was tilling the soil the past 6 years. Right. And so what I've seen these past 2.5 months is really a lot of fruit that has been born because people have a certain level of comfort and confidence in actually engaging each other on their heart levels. Just, how they're willing to be open about what their grief is and what their fears are. That in itself has been a sense of joy because our tension has had a place to land, and we've been able to hold all that we've felt together and really be vulnerable with each other. So that, and it might sound kind of strange to say that our sense of vulnerability and sharing our grief makes me happy, but there is a certain sense of joy that comes from seeing your community really sink down to a deeper level of what it understands itself to be. So I'm so thankful for them and for their willingness to really practice their faith on a much deeper level.
And it's extremely important right now, isn't it? That we have this kind of grounding, also in times where we don't have this central ritual of our at least Catholic version of Christianity, in which the Eucharist is so crucial. How does that work out for the people in your parish, and also how do you experience this yourself? Do you celebrate Eucharist, or how does that work?
So no, I don't. The last time that I celebrated was on Sunday, March the 8th. And then we moved out of our building that Friday, March the 13th. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciated my parish because I felt like I could be vulnerable and honest with them. And so we actually did a sense of mutual discernment and really listening to the Spirit around this question. And I asked them what would be meaningful for them. If it would be meaningful for them for me to live stream saying, celebrating the prayers with my wife and my daughter and then watching that, I would be willing to do that, although that would cause me grief and not being able to share it with them. The response that I had back was that we are in this together. There was this sense of solidarity in abstaining from communion, and that has deepened our sense of actually being connected with each other. And so I told my parish, I said, I don't want to work my own vocational tensions out on you. And so I want to do my work at not being able to celebrate. And I also want to do the, piece of my work which is how can I be present to you? And so, you're right. The times that we're in right now really do call for this heightened sense of doing our own inner work, doing the own work of our hearts, so that we can really be present to each other and not reactive. And so we haven't celebrated Eucharist. We have morning prayer on Sunday mornings. We have Compline every weeknight. We even had an online dance party where they sent me songs. I know.
Wonderful.
So they all sent songs, and then I pulled it up online and shared YouTube clips of different music videos, which was wonderful. And we all pushed our furniture out of our spaces, and we all danced.
Beautiful.
And so we've really looked at ways to really hold this presence together, and it's been so joyful to see.